absent. Mr. Barnabas Wu,
Yes.
Dr. Cirillo,
Here.
Mr. Petracca.
Here.
All right, thank you. In compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act, I hereby state that adequate notice of this special meeting has been provided to the public by a written notice dated September 25th, 2018. The meeting notice has been posted on bulletin boards located inside each school building and the Board of Education office, communicated to at least one of the board's designated newspapers, and filed with the Borough Clerk of Palisades Park. We'd like to thank everyone for coming to the special meeting tonight. I know it's very short notice, and in light of being back to school night tonight, we would like to slightly arrange our agenda and move our audience participation towards the front of the meeting so that any parents who would like to attend back to school night may do so. Is anyone on the board opposed with that? Okay, motion to open audience participation.
I'd like to move that we open audience participation.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Please remember that our policy 9322 says limited to 3 minutes per participant. And please state your name for the record as well. Thank you. Yes.
Hi, Anthony Rotunda. I actually have a couple questions. First question I have is, why exactly was the meeting moved from yesterday to today, considering today's a back-to-school night? But I don't believe there were any events yesterday that was on. You said that the notice was given on the 25th, but as of last night, even on the Board of Ed website, it said nothing about there being a meeting today. I actually had to dig quite a bit to figure out what time this meeting was going to be today. So that's my first question. Why was the meeting moved from yesterday to today?
Sure. I think clearly, as you know, as a former board member, these are volunteers to our community. In order to have a quorum, which we barely had this evening, I think we need to accommodate the board members and their schedules. I can pick any night. I can try to do the very best I can, but I know 2 weeks ago, unfortunately, we had to interfere with another back-to-school night in light of another emergency meeting. I respectfully ask that the board president would consider audience participation at the first part of this meeting to accommodate any families or parents, and I think that's what he's done.
Okay.
As far as the website, it's a valid concern. I hope we address some of those concerns moving forward after tonight. There is a recommendation finally for tonight to approve a new coordinator of technology. Again, we can only do the very best as we know we have in our limited resources.
Okay. The second question I have, and this goes to the new lawyer. About how many hours do you think that you spent doing the investigation to the security agreement that was then broken at the last meeting?
I don't know yet. Sorry, I've been here.
Round about 10, 15, 5?
I don't know yet.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I haven't put it together yet because I've really been under a time constraint to put everything together.
Okay.
Was just newly appointed.
I'll just make a statement and then I'll sit. I am quite disgusted, very disgusted at the actions of the Board of Ed. They bring up an investigation. Special counsel was hired to investigate this special agreement, knowing full well, I would guess, by some of you that you were going to break the agreement anyway. Having broken the agreement, now all security officers completely have been pulled from any building. The town was more than happy while you guys were doing the investigation to provide an officer, maybe not an officer.
I just want to, and again, I understand your emotions here. I don't want to say that there are no security officers. I don't want the public. I don't want the press. I
But
don't
the
want
agreement
parents
the agreement
to know
was
that
broken,
our
right?
vulnerabilities are there are no security officers.
That's not, but the agreement was broken. Officers were taken from the building,
One part
correct?
of the agreement was terminated. We do have security officers. For the record, let's not tell the world we don't have security. That's what you just did, which is not true.
I said that the security agreement was broken and that officers were.
Shared service agreement was
Yes.
terminated.
Well, and then the officers that were provided were
As
pulled from the building.
educators, as a parent soon to be, I want you
Yes.
to please understand, we have a level of security in our schools, and I want everyone to know that.
But it's not to the same
I'm not
level that the
arguing with
agreement
you, I'm
was.
just trying to
And I'm not
clear
trying to
up.
argue with you. I'm just making the statement as to what I understand and what I know. An investigation was launched, and that's fine. You guys could have looked at, first off, it could have been looked at before the hiring was even done. All right, you guys do understand that. Tom, as personnel committee, that was you. You were not here on the meeting, but you do have the Personnel Committee, and it was brought up during that meeting. It was brought up during that meeting that you should have known. Yes. Okay, fine. Yes.
I am head of personnel.
Okay.
But we did not hire the officers. That was done by
But
the
it was brought
borough.
up by the Personnel Committee.
It was
Yes.
not done
Okay.
by the school.
Go back to the
Let me
meeting. Go
finish.
back to the
You
meeting.
addressed me, excuse me.
Okay.
The borough hired the security.
Go back to the
We were
meeting
to
in which it
hire
was
a
stated that you were at the
coordinator.
meeting so
So
that you
you're
knew who you were
totally
hiring.
incorrect.
Instead of
Order,
making it,
please.
instead of completely making it into some type of a sideshow in which you were more concerned about the liaison than the people that were actually going to be in the building. And that's exactly what you did. And that's why I said after this point, I don't care what you guys say to me after this point. You guys made it into a game in which you looked at who was going to lead and not who was actually going to be in the building. And then once you knew who was in the building, then you had another problem with it. Then you break the agreement, and that removed the officers. Completely backwards. Again, I don't need anything said back to me. I'm saying what I'm saying on the record. I wish that more people were here to have heard it. That's all I have to say.
Thank you for your comments. Is anyone else in the audience who would like to participate? Yes.
Participation already.
Oh, yes, go ahead.
Hi, I'm Mary Terranova, I'm PTA president and PTSA president. The parents of older students have approached me at the meetings, and they're very concerned about the armed security guards. Regular police have been removed from the schools, nothing in place to protect the students and faculty. They're coming to me, they're nervous, they're scared, faculty too. We just want an answer. We want it to be resolved, not in 6 months, not in 3 months. We want it now. Stress it's been very upsetting. Sometimes kids need protection, you know. You don't know what's gonna happen. You don't know from today or tomorrow what's gonna happen. The security guards that are at the door, they only check people in. It's great that they are there, I'm glad, but they're not there with, armed guards and stuff, There's other issues, actually. I don't want to take up too much time, so I know we have to be done by 6. As you see here, ceiling tiles aren't done yet.
I can address that point if you like.
Please.
Ceiling tiles were just delivered, they were ordered, they're a special type, just came, and they'll be installed very soon.
Okay,
And we're fortunate that we didn't put them up because with the monsoon rains, they probably would have come down again.
No leaks.
Oh, excuse me, no
there was
leaks.
no leaks. I saw
Until
that.
we put them up, and then we'll have leaks again.
But we do have leaks. I mean, this is what people, they notice it in the schools. And we have that over here for like 2 months now. And my kids are touching when they go into lunch. I tell them not to because it's itchy. But there's a lot of repairs that need to be done to Lindbergh, cafeteria still. The school bathrooms are not working right, lights are out. I'd like to know who is in charge of, like, if we have to ask somebody who fixes things, who do we direct our, like, hey, this light's out, who we ask? You know what I mean?
How long have you lived in Palisades Park?
I know, don't even say
Mary,
baby
I'm
steps,
curious, how many years?
40-something years.
I think more is being done today than has ever been done. And I kid you not, I've dealt more with architects in the past 5 months than I have in the past 5 years. I haven't scheduled appointment with our architects on Monday in all 3 of our schools. And understand, this is not a process that can be done overnight. It's taken
10 years?
It's taken many a years of neglect or no attention whatsoever.
But how much you're paying for the scaffold? You could have probably had a new building by
So
now.
Mary, at the end of the day, I want to ensure the safety of our students is why the scaffold is still there. Until we remedy the issue of the building, I'm not going to remove the scaffold. If I remove the scaffold and we knock down the building, which has been discussed, okay? It's foolish, right? We're spending a lot of money. Or if we fix the building to knock it down, that's even more foolish of us. I want to make sure we make the right educational decisions, and it takes time. We have an architectural firm that has been retained by this board. I'm doing a tour of all 3 schools with them on Monday. We've identified many needs in our schools. This goes back. The hope here is that submission goes to Trenton, hopefully in the spring, for a referendum vote in the fall. I wish we could expedite it. There's timelines behind all of it.
So I won't be a grandmother, okay.
It won't be a what?
Sure.
I won't be a grandmother, I hate to see the building going up.
Kathy Doheny, co-president of the PPA.
given that timeline, if in fact you go to referendum, you're talking about not this November, next November. So only assuming that it passes, if it does pass, how long would, after that would work start? Do they have to go out and bid? Is like, how long of a process are we
So again, I will
talking?
tell you, and I don't know that we should get stuck on the month of November. I believe referendums can be held 6 times per year in schools. We're not looking at November. I'm looking to expedite it. I did as much as, let's try to do it in the spring of 2019, excuse me. Submission has to be sent to the state in order to be reimbursed for any money at all. In order to do it the right way, again, this is our architects. I can ask that they be here next month at our regular meeting. They can answer these questions a lot better than I can. A lot better than any board member who's a volunteer. That's what they're retained for. But in all fairness, I think we are moving this in the right direction. Okay, I can't speak to what happened 10 years ago. I can speak to what I hope is going to happen 10 years from now. And we're doing everything in our power.
And also, are we gonna have some kind of a plan to get it out to the public that we need to pass this
1,000,000%.
referendum? Because if
1,000,000%.
it doesn't pass, then
The young lady behind you, who reports a lot for us lately, has been
oh, that's you.
approached by
Hey,
me
girl.
because I need their assistance. Just as much as they've alerted the public on other issues that have pertained to our schools, I need them to know about the conditions of some of our buildings, and I've talked to her about it. Okay, and the truth is, we need everyone to understand that our buildings are in need of immediate attention. Nothing is falling apart, but soon they will.
You were next, yes.
My name's Nancy Andragon, I work here at the ECC. I want to know if there's a time frame on when the front door is going to be repaired, because it's been broken for months. We've had several people come to try to repair it. The scanner doesn't work. If people come to the door, we can work the remote, see who it is, talk to them, but physically have to get up from our desk, go out there and open the door. Unless you have a key, which, you know, some of the principal, whatever, has. But the only time it helps is if the security guard, we have to radio him, he gets up and goes to the door to open it.
I'll
But
answer that in 2 parts if you don't mind. When you say the scanner, what scanner are you
the
referring to?
scanner with our ID, that doesn't work.
Because we had to disengage it.
Right.
Okay, otherwise the door would be left open
Left open,
overnight.
right, which is
So the
definitely-
answer for your question is, I just got the part, and I'm picking up the other part tomorrow. This was yesterday at 9:35 a.m.
Okay.
I'm trying to get to the ECC Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday of next week.
Why is he doing Great.
Sorry.
No,
I
that's,
wish I could do it yesterday.
yeah, no, that's great, as long as there's a light at the end of the tunnel. it'd be great.
There is, I just don't know that it ever shines in Palisades Park.
No, that cloud.
Gonna need a lot of flashlights.
Yes, in the back.
Hi, I'm Lisa Argieri. I have a son in the school with severe nut allergies, and I'm very concerned at the high school that the nurse, when she's not there, there is no covering nurse. I know they've called out to Lindbergh to try to get a nurse in an emergency, not available. To ECC, they can never leave. I know I've spoken to Dr. Cirillo, he's on top of it, but I wanted to make it known that there is children in the high school with severe life-threatening allergies. There needs to be a nurse on the premises at all times, because it takes only a couple of minutes for a child to stop breathing in an allergic reaction. And also there is an asthmatic child at Lindbergh that has been in the hospital near death many times, and that there needs to be always a nurse at Lindbergh.
Lisa, so again, not to give you the false hope that we're gonna have a nurse 24/7, and we've talked about this a little bit, politely know that if a nurse is driving on her way to school and God forbid is in an accident, we might not have a nurse. Clearly, unforeseen things happen. I do know, and we've talked about when a nurse is absent, we do have 2 agencies, both Biata and Delta T, provide us with nursing. I was in touch with them again this afternoon for the record.
Okay.
And I brought to their attention, we put in requests, can you ensure that we will have someone there? They can't guarantee it, because even if they assign it to someone, that person may have a problem. For the record, and hopefully this will help you a little bit, and I did look into this today. We have 7 people at the high school, 7 faculty and or staff members at the high school who are trained and willing to administer any EpiPen as needed. Is that a nurse? No. but at the very least, it should help some of your concerns. Okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes.
Maria Alvarez, one quick question for the attorney. Having a 5:30 meeting that conflicts with back-to-school night, is that a violation or any problem conflicting with the New Jersey Public Meetings Act?
I researched the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Act regarding to that issue that you're bringing up, and no, there's no violation. The meeting was noticed in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act. The president did open the public portion to accommodate parents, which is something he did not have to do, but he did do just as an accommodation. And echoing what the superintendent indicated before, there's no violation of the Open Public Meetings Act as far as I
What
know.
about an accommodation to the high school teachers that by contract have to be at back-to-school night? And I believe they're supposed to be there before 6 o'clock when it's open.
I understand the meeting was made at 5:30 because it's usually at 7 o'clock to have the meeting before back-to-school night started.
But the teachers have to be there, so there are no high school teachers here.
It's an open meeting that was properly noticed in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, so there is no conflict.
Thank you. Anyone else in the public? Is there a motion? Oh, yes.
One more.
Yes.
The parking lot that was built next to the library, how come all of a sudden now, staff at the ECC is no longer allowed to park there?
So it was brought to my attention that it is not a school parking lot. It is property of the library. And I think what was told to me, unfortunately, was more people would be accommodated by the library if those spots were open. So it is an inconvenience. I know we had to send out an email last Friday. It's when we became aware of it. I apologize to those faculty and staff members.
And where do you suggest that they park now?
I wish I had an answer. I know many of people who unfortunately have to leave earlier to find a spot on the street. I also know residents, again, sometimes take public transportation, so they may not move their vehicles. I will be in touch with the borough. I will see that maybe we can share some spots. Again, know that we've had it for over a year and we were fortunate and grateful, but they did have the right to revoke that.
But I think there's signs up that between 7 and 10, you can't park without a resident sticker.
So we do have Board of Ed employee stickers that have been acceptable in the past. I will check with the chief of police to ensure that they will not be ticketed if they're Board
Okay,
of
if
Ed.
they could do that, because now that's what they're so nervous about, because a lot of them have gotten tickets. You know, the alternate side of the street parking, they are guilty of that a lot of times. They forget or whatever. So that, if they get a ticket, that's on them. But to just park anywhere would be great if they have a certain
Well, I don't know
pass.
that they would be allowed to park anywhere.
Well, no,
They
on
would
the
still
streets.
have to adhere to any parking regulations.
Right.
But if they weren't residents because they did not live here but worked here, I would ask that Board of Ed parking passes be considered acceptable.
Okay. Yeah, the teachers are okay, it's RAs, and we have a lot
They're
that do
still
not
staff,
live in
and
town.
that's understandable.
Anyone else in the audience? Okay, motion to close the audience.
Make a motion to close.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. We'll continue with our meeting. Report of the board superintendent, Dr. Cirillo.
I do have a few things, just to come back to, I think, a discussion from the month of August. I know there was a proposal from Mr. Andrew Kim regarding a mayoral candidates night, council candidates night, and Board of Ed candidates night. I thought, again, this was a nice opportunity for our students to understand how politics really works, or at least get a glimpse of the whole political debate system in a small town like Palisades Park. I was asked the question, and I did look into whether this was surely not a partisan party asking to run this debate. They are nonpartisan. Their just proposal was to use our building. It was conditionally approved. And just for the public's edification, the nights are October 18th at Lindbergh School at 7 p.m. for the mayoral candidates night.
Oh, 18th for me?
Excuse me, October 11th, 2018, excuse me. Council Candidates Night, October 18th, 2018, Lindbergh Elementary School, 7 p.m. Board of Ed Candidates Night, October 29th, Lindbergh Elementary School, 7 p.m.
So 7 PM for all three?
All three at Lindbergh. Again, the dates, 11th for mayoral, 18 for council, 29th for Board of Ed. Two other items that I wanted to bring to the public's attention. I am in receipt of a bilingual waiver which was approved by the State Department of Education. And here's some great news, finally. I received this email this morning from the Office of Education of the Consulate General that 2018 graduate Mariana Posa will be among the students to be honored as the recipient of a 6-week study program in Italy. Mariana is the only student from the state of New Jersey and will be studying at John Cabot University, Rome campus. Please join me in congratulating Mariana on receiving this prestigious award and representing Palisades Park.
Very nice.
That is all from me.
Thank you, Dr. Cirillo. I don't have a report tonight. Report of the board attorney.
I do not have anything else to add, thank you.
Thank you. Can we have a motion to approve the minutes for July 26th special meeting?
I'd like to move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Jeffrey Wu?
Yes.
Mr. Ken Bruno?
Yes.
Ms. Connie Wang?
Oh, I abstain, I wasn't here.
Mr. Jason Kim?
I'm recusing me.
Dr. Matarazzo?
Yes.
Mr. Barnabas Wu?
Yes.
Dr. Cirillo?
I cannot vote on that matter.
Mr. Petrarca?
I cannot vote either, but I don't believe we have enough quorum on the minutes on this, so we should probably
Then
just
we'll
take
have to table for next meeting for both minutes then. Thank you. Moving on to the committee reports, Finance, Mr. Bruno.
All right, I'll try to phone it for John, big shoes. Before you have 11 resolutions. I'd like to move on consent agenda.
Is there a second?
Second.
We have roll call, please.
Mr. Jeffrey Wu?
Yes.
Mr. Ken Bruno?
Yes.
Ms. Connie Wang?
Yes.
Mr. Jason Kim? Dr. Matarazzo?
Yes.
Mr. Wu?
Yes. Oh, sorry.
That's okay. Dr. Cirillo?
No vote.
Okay. Sorry, Barnabas Wu.
Next is,
I have an addendum,
Oh,
sorry,
do you?
an addendum for finance.
Yes.
It says, I'll just read the first part. Be resolved, the board, upon recommendation of the superintendent, approves the attached budget transfers in accordance with Title 18A, semicolon 22, -8, dot 1, in the amount of $2,803,792.15.
okay, can we have a second to approve the agenda?
I second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Jeffrey Wu?
Yes.
Mr. Ken Bruno?
Yes.
Ms. Connie Wang?
Yes.
Mr. Jason Kim?
Yes.
Dr. Matarazzo?
Yes.
And Mr. Barnabas Wu?
Yes.
Next is the personnel team, Dr. Matarazzo, please.
Yes, before you have 12 motions, I'd like to put that on consent agenda.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Jeffrey Wu?
Yes.
Mr. Ken Bruno?
Yes.
Ms. Connie Wang?
Yes.
Mr. Jason Kim?
Yes.
Dr. Matarazzo?
Yes.
Mr. Barnabas Wu?
Yes.
I would like to just acknowledge and congratulate two members who are in the audience tonight and wish them the best of luck. Mr. Amani Dyer, who is going to be our new tech coordinator for the Palisades Park Schools. Welcome and good luck. Congratulations. And Ms. Melissa Lombardo. Good luck and congratulations on your new opportunity at the Palisades Park Junior Senior High School.
Thank you.
Congratulations, both of you.
Congratulations. We're gonna go back to our Buildings and Grounds Committee report, Mr. Bruno.
Before I make the statement, I have 7 resolutions, but what I was wondering is when we have the consultant come to do the security,
Yes.
check,
Yep.
could they look at this extracurriculars also? I'll explain why I'm saying it, like, if somebody comes into school tonight, you know what I mean, we're in here. So I'm just saying, like, when you get the consultant and you walk through the schools and say, we have extracurricular, what are your recommendations for that?
Absolutely.
Security?
Absolutely.
Very good, thank you.
All right, so, before you have 7 resolutions, I'd like to move on consent agenda.
Is there a second?
I second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Jeffrey Wu.
Yes.
Mr. Ken Bruno.
Yes.
Ms. Connie Wang.
Yes.
Mr. Jason Kim.
Yes.
Dr. Matarazzo.
Yes.
Mr. Barnabas Wu.
Yes.
Curriculum, Mr. Kim.
I have nothing to report this time for curriculum.
Thank you. And negotiations, I believe there's no report as well. Policy, Mr. Kim.
Let's see, yes. I'd like to make a motion for the resolution as consent agenda in the policy.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Jeffrey Wu.
Yes.
Mr. Ken Bruno.
Yes.
Ms. Connie Wang.
Yes.
Mr. Jason Kim.
Yes.
Dr. Matarazzo.
Yes.
Mr. Barnabas Wu.
Yes.
PTA, PTSA liaison, Ms. Wang, sorry.
Third one.
Thank you. Student activities, field trips, Mr. Kim. Or actually, yeah.
Yeah, this time I'd like to make a motion for 5 resolution as a consent agenda.
Is there a second?
I'll second that, but also may I, field trip request was just made by the pre-K and kindergarten teachers for the 18th of October. Although we're having a meeting before then, just so they can prepare and get everything out, I'd like to add this, if you don't mind, to the list of student activities for request. And that would be for Adams Farm in Wyckoff, and it's from 9:30 to 2:15. And students will be exploring the outdoor living, as well as for an educational hayride, and go for pumpkins, etc.
Great, thank you. So that will be 6 resolutions. Mr.
Yeah.
Kim, can you remake that motion?
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion for the 6th resolution
Thank you.
as a consent agenda.
And I second it.
Thank you, Mr.
I'm sure they'll really enjoy that trip.
Yes.
Yeah.
I like that.
That's good. And second was Dr. Matarazzo?
Yes.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Jeffrey Wu.
Yes.
Mr. Ken Bruno.
Yes.
Ms. Connie Wang.
Yes.
Mr. Jason Kim.
Yes.
Dr. Matarazzo.
Yes.
Mr. Barnabas Wu.
Yes.
Calendar food services, I believe there's no report. NJSBA liaison, Mr. Wu.
Yeah, we have, this is annual New Jersey School Board Convention on October 22nd to the 25 in Atlantic City. Everybody reserved it except the Paul Kim and Connie Wang, I believe.
Ms. Wang did reply, she will not be attending this year.
Yeah, that's right.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Okay, thank you very much. Is there any old business? Any new business? I guess there's a motion to close the meeting.
I like this.
Can I ask one quick question, because I wouldn't have known this at the audience participation part, it's a real quick question.
Open to audience
Okay,
again.
then we'll make a motion to open.
Then I'd like to make a motion that we open audience participation again.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Yes.
Hi, Anthony Rotundo. According to the agenda that was posted today, on the curriculum, Mr. Kim was supposed to bring up the update of the K-12 curriculum. Was that pulled from this meeting?
I put a question mark there as well.
Okay.
I did ask that we revise it all as we do annually.
Okay.
It's not here.
Yeah, I was just wondering if it was
I will
pulled
be
or not.
sure to look into it, and I will tell you, it very likely will be on our October meeting.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes.
One other thing, this is just a suggestion I heard on the radio, that they said if you park a police car by a school when they're not in use, just have it there, whether the policeman's in the building or not. It would give someone, if they're thinking, a thought, like maybe there's a police and why go there or something. It sounded, rather than parking it, say, just anywhere else. If you park in near any kind of building, there's a chance he could be in the building, and just if you're parking a car, it's only a block from the
My own
station.
vehicles, they would be there. I think that's something that needs to be discussed beyond this board, and I would be more than happy to share your thoughts with the borough and police department.
Yeah, just if they had an extra car or something, how they park them, just a thought.
Yeah, thank you very much. Anyone else in the audience? Motion to close
I'd
audience.
like to make a motion to close audience.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to close the meeting.
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. Have a great evening.